What's up everybody, Dakota Schultz here. Hope you're all just doing swell. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take a totally boring photo and turn it into a total Instagram banger. One of the things that has always kind of bothered me is that my photos always seem to kind of look bland, but this other dude's photos looked poppin' and sweet and epic, and I could never really figure out why. And finally I learned that sometimes the edit of a photo is almost more important than the photo itself, particularly with photos of people. You might take a sweet photo of somebody, but it just looks flat and boring and there's not really much to it, and you post it and you're like, man, this is really good. And then you scroll and you see someone else's photo and you're like, whoa, that's a photo. Editing a photo properly is how you can take a photo that looks like this and turn it into a photo that looks like this. I'm guessing you can see the difference, right? So I'm gonna show you here in a second how I took that first photo and turned it into that second photo. But before I do, if you haven't already, just take a quick second, scroll down and hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me and makes a huge difference in my channel. In fact, I'll just give you like 3 seconds to do that real quick. Okay, now without further ado, let's go edit a photo. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom, and this is the photo that we're gonna be working with. And this photo is one that my wife took of me down at the Strip here in Las Vegas. And it's a pretty good looking photo. I like the framing, I like where I'm at. There's some cool lights in the background. But right now it's just very, very flat, and there's not much contrast or pop going on with the photo. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come over to this little section here called the tone curve. We're gonna toggle that up. This tone curve is really cool because you can pull just the shadows up or just the highlights. The higher up you go on this bar is you're controlling the highlights, and then the middles, the midtones, and down low is the shadows of the photo. And so as we pull up the shadows, we're gonna see the shadows down low, down by me, actually get brighter or darker depending on where I pull this. And the same thing with up top. I can pull this up and brighten those highlights, or pull it down and darken those highlights. So right now the highlights are pretty good where they are, but I want to brighten myself up just a little bit more down here. So we're gonna pull up these shadows just a little bit, get me a little bit brighter. And then we're also gonna keep the highlights just a little bit lower to kind of even out the photo. Right now with this tool, I just kind of want to flatten it, make the darks and the brights a little bit more similar. Okay, so already you can see, if I go back to the original one here, what we've done, we've kind of brightened me up and flatten the image out a little bit more. And this is gonna allow us to do a little bit more with the colors and stuff later. I'll show you. Okay, so now that we have the shadows and the highlights where we want them, now we're gonna move over and we're gonna come down here to this little section called color grading. And this section is awesome. So with these little color wheels, we can control specifically the shadows, specifically the midtones, and specifically the highlights and the color in those areas. One of the things I want to do with this photo right up front is I really like blue, and I want those lights back there, those white lights, to be more of like a blue neon type light. So those lights are going to be in the highlights section. So I'm just going to grab these highlights right here in the middle. I'm going to start pulling them more towards the blue here. And you can see the photo changing. So I can get up to green, red. We're going to blue, and we're gonna find that sweet spot where we like it. I think just about there is good. So now we have a nice blue light coming from that. And already you can see how much the photo has changed just from that one slider. Here's the before, and then here's the after. So now we have a nice blue tint going to it. But now I'm gonna go to this little button here, which is global. It's gonna combine, this is gonna be your shadows, highlights, and midtones. So I'm gonna change all of the colors in this photo right now. And I'm gonna pull it again more towards the blue. And I'm doing this because I want the vibe that those lights in the background are giving a blue like hue over everything. So we're gonna pull this down, find a sweet spot that we really like. And I think just about there is gonna look pretty good. So right off the bat, one of the things I notice is that now I'm looking a little bit blue, but I want my skin to stay a little bit more, natural, a little more red. So now we're gonna head over to this section over here, which is gonna be your linear gradient. And this is gonna make it so we can affect just one portion of the photo. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is just click and drag to get this gradient tool. And then I'm gonna center this middle line. I want this middle line right above me. And I want it at the same angle as me, because my goal is to only affect me in that kind of bottom corner of the picture. And then I'm gonna invert this tool so it's just covering me. And so you can see everything that's red is what I'm gonna be changing right now only. Anything that's normal right now will not be affected by the edits I'm about to do. So I have me selected. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that red color off. And right off the bat, I want to bring the exposure up on me just a little bit. Very tiny bit. This exposure, you can pull it up and it really just gets blown out. But we're gonna do just a tiny bit to really make sure I'm popping. We'll probably put it right around here at the 40 mark. And then I'm gonna come down here to this hue, because right now, remember we said I was a little bit blue. So this hue slider you can change to kind of pull the image more towards a specific color. So I wanna bring it a little bit back more towards red or orange, but very little, right about here. Right about 10, nothing crazy, but now you can see my skin's looking a little bit natural again. Okay, now that's all I wanna do with this gradient tool. So let's head back to our main screen over here. And now we're gonna scroll on to one of my favorite effects on photos. It's gonna be down here in the effects tab, and it's this slider right here, clarity. And if you drag it here to the left, you can see our image gets real fuzzy and blurry and very soft. But if you go the other direction, it makes it very, very hard lines, very clear lines, and the contrast gets really just really upped. Now you're gonna be tempted to go all the way up sometimes, way too far, just because you're like, whoa, that's really changing the photo. But trust me, you don't want to go all the way up there. Let's see, for this photo, I'm thinking somewhere right here in the 60 range is looking pretty good. And you can see what it did is it makes me pop, and I just love this clarity effect so much. I think it is awesome. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the before and after here. This is our before photo, and this is the after photo. And you can see the difference, right? And if you guys like this kind of tutorial thing, let me know in the comments and I'll keep making more. All right, so there you have it. That's how you take a boring old photo and turn it into an Instagram banger. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button. It does a whole lot for the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.